Fill the Funnel Podcast with Jeff Swan
and Tom Slocum.
We're here to help you crush your targets
with tactical tips and insights you can act on today.
Don't have a fancy tech stack, a big budget, or even a huge team to lean on?
Well, it's time to get that solved today with FTF Fridays.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fill the Funnel Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Swan, with my co-host, Tom Slocum. So today we're going to be talking about a really exciting topic, is how to multi-channel hustle. Okay, so how to actually fill your funnel by leveraging multiple different channels, and some you know, some you don't. There's some stats that I've learned from the great Jason Bay that if you're looking at outbound prospecting, you might have at most a 9.5% success rate with your outbound prospecting. Let's say you're just calling or you're just emailing, right? But as soon as you add a second channel, as soon as you add one more channel, that success rate goes up to 22.5%. So more than double. Then when you add a third channel, your success rate goes up to 25.1%. So I'm throwing a lot of stats here. I don't want to sound like a data nerd or anything like that. But the concept here is that when you do more than one channel, you're going to significantly increase your response rate on your outbound prospecting. And it's really, I've heard this awesome phrase in the past. It was all about, annoy them into talking to you. Well, you have to get noticed these days. There's so much noise out there that for you to be able to get in touch with somebody, make sure that they see you everywhere they look. So with that said, Tom, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about why we chose this specific topic, especially after last week's Heart of a Champion?
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Ideally, as we saw in last week's episode with the Heart of a Champion, Joe put up 37 meetings in 16 days, and we didn't really dive into the how. And what it all came down to was a multi-channel hustle. And that's what RevLeague's all about constantly. We have people have come in being purely email. Now they're implementing cold calling. Now they're getting into social. We have some people that purely social sell that are getting into email. They're learning how to get creative because, as you mentioned at the beginning of this, Jeff, is going from one channel at 9.5% success all the way to a 3-channel process. They're going to 25.1%, which is 17% increase, right? So looking at your numbers and your data and working backwards, what would 17% do for you right now? Especially in the beginning of the quarter, and how important it is to really multi-channel hustle. And it's not about hitting all the channels to annoy your prospect. What it is about working smarter and not harder, and knowing that using the 3 channels, you're able to hit your goals because you got 6 coming from cold calling, 4 coming from email, 2 coming from social, that every day you're creating a well-oiled machine that's generating you those 1 to 2 meetings a day because you're hitting all the multi-threads versus one basket of I'm just a cold caller. Okay. And that's a great channel, but it's only going to lead to one, a certain number, no matter what you're doing. You're always going to have to add more numbers, do more activity versus maybe throwing some emails out there. Now you're getting an extra 3 a month. So that's what we want to dive into today, is really looking at how to be a multi-channel hustler, work smarter, not harder, and have your pipeline just really flowing daily through these channels.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's true. It's not about annoying. It's about getting people's attention, right? It's about like doing it in a way that's valuable for them and that really helps you understand the complete story and helps your prospects understand who you are and why you're reaching out. So
it makes you operationally better, right? Because you got to live where your audience lives. Everybody is different, right? Not everybody likes their talk on the phone. I don't. Yep. Maybe you do. You like email. Maybe I don't like the email process. I don't live there, right? I'm not on my email box all the time. So the whole point of using the multi-channel is, again, finding where your audience lives best and then putting, more effort there. Maybe you only email 20% and 80% is cold calling because that's the necessary step. However, there's 20% of your network that will never pick up the phone. But had you done those emails, you got those extra meetings that you would have never seen because you only purely lived on one channel. So it's really understanding through the multi-channel where your audience lives, getting better data, getting better at the channels, and putting in the right effort to the right channels, and capturing their attention wherever they are. right? I hit you up on the phone, I hit you up on email, and I hit you up on LinkedIn in a day. I don't know where you're going to fall. Maybe you get all three. Cool. Great. Better for me, right? I'm annoying you. You pick up the phone. I got a voicemail. I go to my inbox. Darn it. There's Tom again. Hey, on my LinkedIn. Oh, there's Tom's video. Okay, Tom, what the hell do you want? Right? Like maybe I'll reach out. Or they only check LinkedIn for the day. Great. I got their attention there. Right? I got it. Perfect. Or, oh, they were on the phone that time. I got them. So that's how you want to use that.
That's awesome. You know, when you're talking about that, I'm just picturing the scene from The Office. I don't know if you remember, there's wolf.com where the resident tech geek or MBA student, he creates this startup where when you message somebody, it goes through their phone, their email, their text and their fax and everything. And it's, you got woofed. I mean, that's an obnoxious and totally exaggerated version of what we're talking about. The concept remains. It's just make sure that you're where your prospects are. And like I heard this early on in my sales and marketing career was be where your customers are. And it's really served me so well for the last 16 years that like, as long as you really focus your attention on the right channels for your audience, then it's just amazing.
Let's talk about that, right? What are those standard channels, right?
Yeah. So let's go into the standard channels. So we've both mentioned the kind of three tenets of outbound sales is cold calls. So phone, email, and social media. Yep. Now, social media, it's funny to call that like a stalwart or like a standard channel, but it has quickly become something that's absolutely standard for any SDR and any outbound rep to use as like their standard tools. So the way that you use these tools differs from person to person, but I'll just give like a quick story from a mutual colleague that we know, and Tom and I both know. Now, she's an amazing email seller. Okay. She gets over 10% booked meetings from emails just by themselves. Yep. Okay. Right. So obviously she's got the data to back it. She's got the, everybody's going, yep, this girl's amazing at email and whatever else. So we'd think, why would you ever need to do anything else? Why would you ever need to add any other channel at all? Right. Wrong. What happens is as soon as she starts leveraging social media in her sequences, she starts getting more responses. Couple book meetings from social, couple book meetings from email. She gets more from email, but she still gets some from social. Yeah. So let's imagine that she got 16 meetings last month. Probably 4 of those are from social.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So like if she just done email, which is by far the best channel for her, she'd only get 12 meetings for the month. Right. Then her her SDR does the same thing, same framework, same email, same customer, same company, everything. And she has found success with cold calling thanks to Tom's help and the help of other people in the group to get her on the phones and just use the tools that you have there. And how many did she book from cold calling?
Oh, I don't even have that at the top of the hat. I don't know.
It's at least a couple a month. It's at least like one or two a week.
Yeah, she's getting 3 to 5, I would say for sure, by picking up the phone.
Mm-hmm. So just as an example of these is that we have one person who's like an email absolute expert. We have another person in our network that is a superstar cold caller that we did March Madness last month, and he did something like, I can't remember, it was 9 meetings in 3 days, mostly through cold calls, something like that. And guess what? 2 of those 9 meetings, sorry, I misspoke. He did 9 meetings in 3 days.
Yes.
7 of those were from cold calls.
Correct.
But because he started learning and he started growing and really incorporating email and trying to think of how to do it properly, he booked 2 of those meetings from email. Okay. So what we're looking at here are people who are masters of their domain and crushing it in one of those channels. And as soon as they start adding one more channel, they start to top up, crush their targets and whatever else.
Yep.
So really quickly, email, you can get tons of meetings from email. It works for you when you're not working. It does so much at telling your complete story, and you can tell your story in multiple emails and really strong gives. Second is cold calling. It's fast. It's awesome. I mean, Tom's a freaking killer at this. He booked what's like 4 meetings in a in a day one time just from hitting the phones hard. And then with social, we have one person who booked 45 meetings last month just from social by themselves. So needless to say, they're pretty kick-ass channels. Now, Tom, we were talking earlier, there's actually some non-standard channels that you were going to talk about.
There's different ways to do this. Once you maximize the 3 and you get your process locked down, right? You don't want to be doing more than a 3 until you can master those 3 effectively. Whether you have a sales engagement tool that's doing it, but if you're going to introduce these elements, you want to master them, or at least get them in a process flow that it's not driving your day crazy, right? Video takes time. Block it, figure it out, right? To implement email. There's 3 things that I use periodically through my cadences. One is gift giving. So using the channel of direct mail. Sendoso, great partner of Rev Genius, Ben Haber, all those guys over there that work, right? It's a great thing to gift people as a channel. Send them something, especially now that they're all working from home. You can really find some ways to deliver something to give that extra visibility to yourself, and implement that in your sequence. After 12 to 15 touches, execute something through Sendoso to go out, whether it's a gift card or it's a book. It's something that is relevant to them. Yeah. Text messaging, huge. I know there's a lot of opinion. Yes, I know. We can dive into that episode another day. Y'all keep tuned. Keep tuned. Jeff and I will dive into that one day. But I do think there is some plays there. I think text messaging is really well done, or can be done well. It is another lever to pull within your outreach. And then one that, I got to plug in and give, some kudos to is Dale Dupree and the crumbled letter. I think what Dale Dupree does within the Sales Rebellion and doing the crumbled up letter, being different, right? You being creative is amazing. It comes up delivered like a crumbled ass letter that is just pulled out of the trash, but it's awesome and it gets people's attention and it's different. And especially in this virtual world, you could send that directly to them at their homes or to their offices, and use those. So there's a couple other levers you can pull with doing, some direct mail, some ABM stuff, outside of just those 3 core channels. And I also think getting outside of LinkedIn. I don't think enough people are getting on Facebook and Instagram. I think it's well within the norm. Good point. It's very normal now, and people are okay with it if done very well. Seriously, it's not a typical channel to blast and blitz and do all this crazy stuff. It's a very, very clear and concise channel to use, but if done correctly, can be a great resource for you as well.
That's awesome, Tom. Those are some really good channels. We've both seen some amazing success with those. And we will definitely have to do individual episodes on each of those channels because they are worth an entire episode. So with that said, though, let's talk about how we can use standard channels and these more creative channels in your sequences. So I'm not going to go into email and phone because those are standard sequence channels. But depending on your tool, some sales engagement tools work really well at incorporating social touches within the tool. So as an example, in outreach, I can add a whole bunch of LinkedIn tasks and it will literally have a sidebar on my web browser so that I can quickly batch all of my social touches. So it'll actually allow me to save a message. So it'll allow me to save a message in my task and it'll allow me to batch all of my tasks in a row so that all I have to do is copy and paste that over and it will be already personalized for the person. So just like an email. Yeah. So it's really cool. That said, not all, there's another, one of my clients, he uses close.com and to Tom's point, has incorporated a tool like Sendoso to actually send out as a first touch, send out a brochure about what they're going to be talking about. Right. So awesome. Right. So obviously the sequence has to be first, send the direct mail. wait as long as required for the direct mail to actually get to the customer.
Yeah.
Then start your outreach. Maybe start with your triple touch of your your phone, email, and social touch, right? So there's ways to kind of incorporate these different channels. And like I said, we're going to go into detail on the text messaging in another episode and really show you how we use that. But the concept here is that just think about your buyer journey. Think about how you're reaching out to the person. Think about the time it takes to really digest the different kind of channels and the different messages, like direct mail as an example, and adjust your sequence accordingly so that the wait steps and the steps between, or the time between each step, is enough that the customer or the prospect can actually process it all. So those are just some practical tips. If you want more, feel free to ping Tom or I through LinkedIn. We'll talk about this for days.
Absolutely. And it's all about warming up, leveraging the channels, right? Again, if we leave you with anything on this episode, is that don't be afraid of the other channels. Level up within communities if you need to. Lean into the channels. We're not saying you have to go all in on one. I would never tell Evan Patterson to stop social selling and jump on a phone call. Okay.
No.
Like at the end of the day,
he hates calls.
He hates cold calling. But do what you do best. But just make sure you're at least putting in the effort on these other multi-channels so you don't have to work as hard. It could be one of those channels could either make or break your month for you. That's all we're saying, is that at the end of the day, you could get 12 meetings in the whole month for cold calling, but you could get 20 if you implemented email a little bit and get 8 more. Bigger money, bigger paychecks, bigger roles for the company. Leverage those channels in a way that works for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Yeah. So just as a final thought for today, just a really quick wrap up, your success rate on a single channel for outbound is 9.5%. With adding just one second channel, you add you get up to 22.5%, and you add a third channel, you're at 25.1. So you go from, like Tom said earlier, a 17% increase by adding 2 more channels. Now, just as a recap of what we covered, there's the standard channels. So there's email, phone, and social media. And I'm going to say, if you're B2B sales, your standard channel pretty much is LinkedIn, right? So, and as a creative channels, you're going to be looking at things like texting, like direct mail and gift giving. Mm-hmm. You're going to be looking at, think of other social channels, some maybe like Instagram, more personal ones that you haven't really thought of for a business perspective before. And there's several others. There's so many others. There's Clubhouse funnels. There's all these different things. But the concept here is to look at and be creative about how you're reaching out to your prospect, and then to use them in a sequence. Well, some tools just incorporate things like direct mail, texting, and social media within the tool. Others, you have to kind of find ways to do it. So really, all we're saying today is that enjoy what you're doing, do well at what you do, and find a way to use multiple channels in your outreach. Thanks and happy hunting. Bye. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fill the Funnel podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite platform, give us reviews, and tell all your friends about us. Till next time, happy hunting.